PMQ gentleman Keir Starmer.
All those who served in the Falklands.
Apparently he's not going to mention Rwanda, which I think is a bit of a weird thing.
Serving on the HMS Antelope when it went down. Thankfully, he made it back, but too many serving in that war didn't, and we remember them all. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, Britain is set for lower growth than every major economy except Russia.
Well, except Russia.
Why?
Prime Minister.
Yeah, because we're shit. It's a Brexit. Because he couldn't run a bath, never mind a country.
According to the IMF
what we're going to have?
And the OECD, we
are
going to
have
the fastest growth in the G7 last year. We're going to have the second
no,
fastest.
we didn't. No, we didn't.
This year.
You fucking liar.
Return to the top of the table, Mr. Speaker. But the
we return.
Speaker,
Go on. We're doing so good because we did bad because we did bad. Good. Ah, okay. So because we did good, that's why we're now doing bad. Okay, mate. All right, Lee. How you doing? What a load of shite. What a load of fucking shite. Come out of lockdown. And right now we have the worst economy of any developed country, any advanced nation in the world. And 1.3 million job vacancies.
To blame global forces, but global forces are just that, global. Everybody faces them. Britain isn't under crippling economic sanctions like Russia.
Yes, it is.
Brexit
Brexit.
Want to answer the question. Why
Brexit's
is the
crippling
UK
us.
Set for lower growth than every other major economy?
Yeah. Go on, answer that. Football. Go on then, you giant gob of phlegm. No, you haven't. You haven't. You said, oh, because we did well, now we're doing badly, which isn't how things work, dickhead. Oh God, he's talking Latin now. What a prick. What an irredeemable cunt. What a fucknut. What a piece of shit this man is. His grandfather was actually the president of the European Commission of Human Rights. The president for 10 years. His grandfather was his maternal grandfather. And now he's shitting not just over the legacy of Winston Churchill and the country, but also his own family legacy as well. And he's talking about rail strikes.
Just to remind the Prime Minister, he seems to have gone. His Prime Minister's question.
Bojo bingo cards. Yeah, Lee, get me some bingo cards. I'll fill one out next week.
Stop the strikes, but he hasn't lifted a finger.
No.
I don't want the strikes to go ahead, but he does.
Yeah.
He
does.
Mr. Speaker, he wants the country to grind to a halt so he can feed off the division.
Yes, like a horrible little creature from Doctor Who that feeds off negativity.
About the economy, he thinks he can
feeds
perform
off division.
Jedi mind tricks on the country. These aren't the droids you're looking for. No rules were broken. The economy is booming. The problem is, the Force just isn't with him anymore. He thinks he's Obi-Wan Kenobi. The truth is, he's Jabba the Hutt.
Yes, you fat bastard. Jabba the fuck. Jabba the fuck.
Grow the economy. This week, it turns out, the economy shrank for the second
could do with the
month
Princess
in a
Leia
row.
to just wrap the
How does it help Britain?
chains around his neck.
Prime Minister with his head in the sand.
Feed him to the Sarlacc.
There he goes again, Mr. Speaker.
I don't want to look at the face of him.
This country down.
It looks like his face is collapsing into the middle. Look, running the country down. No, running you down, you twat. Highest employment, highest job vacancies. 1.3 million job vacancies. There are more job vacancies than there are people unemployed.
Also want to be above Prime Minister.
And that's not doing our economy any good. Flights can't take off. Farmers are fucked. Fishermen are fucked. Entrepreneurs are fucked. Exporters are fucked. Everything is fucked under this piece of blonde shite. It's like there's a massive fucking dog turd and someone's put a little blonde wig on it.
I think 16 billion pounds of investment in its tech sector. He doesn't like these European comparisons. Let's make it for him. 3 times as much as Germany, twice as much.
What are you talking about?
France,
He's making shit up now. Fucking lying. Stop lying. Stop lying. What? Pointing out your mistakes is talking the country down. Are you the country? No, you're just the cunt.
He's not just denying how bad things are, he's actively making things worse.
Yeah.
His 15 tax rises are throttling
15
growth.
tax
and the
rises.
director of the CBI
15.
is so fed up, he's reduced to saying Can we stop Operation Save Big Dog and move to action stations on the economy?
Yeah, it's the economy, stupid.
We know what the Prime Minister says about British business in private. I think that's pretty unparliamentary. But when did screwing business turn from a flippant comment into economic policy?
Ooh, he didn't say the word that he actually said, which was fuck. He said fuck business. That's what this fucking demonic, syphilitic blob of blancmange fucking said. Fuck business. Specifically, fuck British business. You fucking cunt. Fucking fuck off, you piece of shit.
Never forget, Mr. Speaker, that Labour, under
Labour, yeah, 12 years ago. 12 years ago. He's talking about literally 2 decades ago, actually. Actually, Labour got in 25 years ago this year. He's talking about something that happened a quarter of a year ago, and he's not even getting his facts right. What a fucking arsehole. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck yourself to death, you absolute shite.
That's £2,100 for every household in the country, Mr. Speaker. No wonder no Labour government has ever left office with unemployment lower than when they came in.
What? What are you talking about? Labour got employment right down, and then the global credit crunch happened.
Tax burden since rationing. He says the economy is booming when it's shrinking. He's
not mentioning Rwanda. It's quite interesting. We should talk about this.
He thinks he's on Love Island. Trouble is, Prime Minister, I'm reliably informed that contestants that give the public the ick get booted out.
Yeah.
And it's not just low growth. He's also lost control of inflation. He was warned about this last September.
Yeah, Lee, if he mentions vaccines with
he dismissed it. He didn't act. He sat on his hands. Now prices are through the roof, and we're set to have the highest inflation in the G7. When will he accept he got it badly wrong when he claimed that worries about inflation were unfounded?
Unfounded.
Mr. Speaker,
yeah.
We're helping
like
people
tank warfare was not going to happen ever again.
With £1,200 on the 14th of July, the
£1,200 if you got 3 properties, yeah?
Why can we do that?
£1,200 to people with 3 houses. They'll get £1,200 from the taxpayer.
Numbers of people in payroll employment, Mr. Speaker, and that is thanks to the steps that we took that he continuously opposed. And if he wants to, and I just remind Mr. Speaker, he has a chance. I won't say this interrogatively, Mr. He has the chance now to clear it up. He can oppose the Labour's rail strikes right now.
Labour's rail strikes now. I think they're the Tory rail strikes actually.
And give him that opportunity. Let him
disagree with the Tory rail strikes.
Who would add to people's costs in the coming weeks.
What a piece of shit. What a genuine piece of fucking
Mr. Speaker,
human
I don't want the strikes to go ahead. He does so he can feed on the division.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Feeding on the division.
Mr. Speaker, they're making a lot of noise now, but I've got a long list here of what his MPs really think of him.
They think he's a cunt.
Dragging everyone down. Who said that? Come on. Who was it said that? Authority is destroyed. Come on, hands up. Which of you was it? Which of you? Come on. Can't win back trust.
I'm liking this.
Up? You're very quiet now.
Yeah.
Hands.
Come on. This is good, Kia. This is good. I'm enjoying this. Jab of the Hutt and now this.
My personal favourite is this. This is a document circulated by his backbench in which they call him the Conservative Corbyn.
Yes!
I don't think that was intended as a compliment.
Fuck you, Boris Johnson.
Week after week,
nice one, Kia. I'm liking this.
Same nonsense. The economy's booming. Everything's going swimmingly.
Someone's let Kia out of his box.
Should be grateful. But whilst he's telling Britain that we never had it so good, millions of working people and businesses know the reality. Britain's growth is going to be slower than our competitors and our inflation higher. A Prime Minister who sounds totally deluded,
I hope Charlie.
totally failing on the economy, failing to tackle...
I think we need to get to the end of the question, but in the...
Oh, fuck
But
off,
I'll
Lindsay.
just remind you,
Got a
I
girl's
will hear
name.
at the end of the question in silence. Any more noise in this corner, there'll be another.
Imagine
cup of tea
J.K.
early for
Rowling
not
hanging out
people.
outside the
Yes.
parliamentary toilets.
Your name's Lindsay, you can't come into the boys.
Totally deluded, totally failing the economy, failing to tackle inflation, failing to back business, failing to help working people through the crisis.
Yep.
And, Mr. Speaker, his big idea, go back to imperial measurements. He's got 80s inflation, 70s stagnation, now he wants 60s wage to complete the set. When is he going to ditch the gimmicks and face up to reality that under him Britain's economy is going backwards?
Yay! Okay, you tell him, Keir.
Let's see the Prime Minister.
No, let's not. He's a cunt. Let's not hear him. Let's just not hear the fucking cunt. Mr. Corbyn. Yeah.
First of all,
But-
he tried
but-
repeatedly to get him elected as Prime Minister. Secondly,
Yeah, and he saw the error of his ways and then kicked him out of the parliamentary party.
He's relatively dynamic by comparison with the right honourable gentleman.
He's dynamic, is he?
Might be helpful if you speak to me. I'm struggling to hear because of the noise on both sides. So please, if you look to the chair, it'll be easier for both of us.
But what
Saying
we're
that
gonna
Britain's
get on
economy is
and do,
booming,
Mr.
yeah.
Speaker, is continue to take the tough decisions to
That's
take
right,
this
Adrian.
country forward, and decisions that are on the side of the British people, Mr.
Oh,
Speaker.
yeah. You're just a normal, typical British person who went to Eton, went to Oxford. Union barons, yeah, they're the bad guys. Immigrants, they're the bad guys. You and me, we're the bad guys. We're the woke, lefty, tranny-loving, metropolitan elite. That's us. Whereas this rich motherfucker who's never had to work a day in his cunting life is he's on the side of people. He's on the side of people. Oh, he's on the side of the refugees now. Yeah? Right, okay. So you're trying to deport them on a one-way ticket to Rwanda, even if they're genuine asylum seekers. Go fuck yourself.
To take this country forward, and no matter how much Welly, his right honourable friend, the deputy leader, may ask him to apply, it doesn't matter how much Welly he pretends to apply, when that Welly, Mr. Speaker, is always on the left foot.
What? A welly on the left foot. Wow. He didn't respond to that very well.
Like mine have already had massive
I know.
housing development.
I know what I am, but what are you?
Increase in general
Jesus Christ, another Tory.
Point of order. The Honourable Lady's been here for so long, she should also know that points of order can only come at the end. Sandra Sullivan.
Oh dear.
Many areas.
Oh, God. Fucking lurch.
Have a conversation later, but certainly it's not. Wait a minute. Andrew Sullivan.
Many areas like mine have already had massive new housing development.
Come on, Lurch, tell us about it, Andrew.
In one of my
Bedfordshire,
surgeries,
fucking home
with double the
counties.
recommended number of patients per
Gammanopolis.
GP, a bowel cancer diagnosis of a 51-year-old father of 4.
Go fuck
was
yourself.
missed
Go fuck
and is
yourself. I
now
hate you
terminal.
so much. I
Getting
fucking hate you
this
so
right
much.
is a life
The
and
reason
death
why
issue.
people are
So
dying
will
on the
Prime
NHS
Minister
is
make
because of
sure
your
that
cunting
areas,
party
the
that's been
parts
in
of the
charge for the
country
last
that have
12
already
fucking
had
years. Go
massive new
fuck
housing
yourself.
growth, get
Fucking
the
lurch. Sit the
commensurate
fuck
increase
down,
in
you
general
fucking
practice capacity that is only right
familiar
and
of the
fair.
undead.
Prime Minister.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, and of course we've increased the numbers of doctors by 6,000, up to 1,200 more
Yeah,
GPs
he's a waste of
since,
oxygen anymore.
this time last year, 11,800 more nurses, but we must make sure
That you
areas, particularly
fucking
where,
cock it
areas
sooner
of-
rather than
of
later.
new
You
sensitive
fucking
development is going in,
absolute bag
there
of
are
shite.
the infrastructure
You fucking
services,
demonic
particularly medical
fucking
services,
cabbage.
that they need.
Go on, fuck
the
yourself.
NHS has a statutory duty to
Really,
take
really
account of
want
population growth.
the
I know
Scottish
you've
question
met
to
my
come in
old
from me in
friend,
Blackford.
the Health
Come on.
Secretary. I will take it up personally to make sure we get a proper approach to, I think, a very, very important issue.
I hope Ian Blackford makes it very clear that they have to leave the
Mr.
union
Speaker,
because
can I join you
of
and
the
others
shit job
remembering
that
today
this
the Falklands
fucking
conflict of
Prime Minister's
40
done
years
to our
ago, and those
country.
like my colleague Keith Brown, the Scottish Justice Minister, that served
All
him.
lies as usual.
In particular, our thoughts are with those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. Mr. Speaker, yesterday our First Minister started a national conversation on Scotland's right.
Yeah, Percolatory, I don't think it's suitable either.
On Scotland's right to choose an independent future.
Yeah.
When we look at nations
Thank you,
like
whatever.com.
Iceland, Ireland, Norway,
fucking hate Boris Johnson, mate. Fucking hate the
It is clear that
Tories.
our neighbours are outperforming the United Kingdom.
Yep.
They deliver greater income equality, lower
Yep.
poverty rates,
Yep.
higher productivity,
Yep.
social mobility
Yep.
and business investment. Mr. Speaker, the list goes on and on. The evidence is overwhelming.
It is?
Scotland is being held back by Westminster.
Yeah, he's absolutely right.
Prime Minister, all those countries can use the powers of independence to create wealthier, fairer and greener
Didn't
societies.
used to agree with this guy, but now I
Why not
do.
Scotland?
Yeah. Why not Scotland,
Mr.
though?
Speaker, I don't doubt my right honourable friend's talents as a conversationalist, but I think there are other subjects in the national conversation right now.
Just not going to answer the question.
Mr. Speaker, what we're doing
The
to
fact that the
come
economy's
through
been
the
trashed by you and your
aftershocks
cunt
of
mates.
COVID, with the strongest jobs
The economy is
recovery,
being
of the
trashed
European
by you
economy.
and your
As I
cunt
said,
mates.
620,000
Inward investments has
across
gone off a
the whole of the
fucking
UK,
cliff because of you
Mr.
and your
Speaker,
cunt
in payroll
mates.
employment
Your
than there were
racist
before the
cunt mates.
pandemic
You tried to
began.
put 8
And
refugees
I
on a
think
fucking
another
plane
subject of
yesterday
national
and
conversation
fucking
is
failed to do
investment
that
into our whole
because you
country,
can't
investment in
fucking
food,
do
investment
anything.
across the whole
Although,
UK, as I
apparently the
mentioned
plane
already,
is going
the tech
over
sector,
and it's going to pick up
the whole of the
58
UK
Rwandans and bring them back
standing
here because they're not
strong
safe in
together on the
Rwanda.
international stage and sticking up for the
Fucking
Ukrainians.
gobshite.
I think that's some of
Sticking
the
up for
things that the country
Ukrainians
is also
until you
talking
send them to
about.
fucking Rwanda, you cunt.
Yes, stronger together. As the Prime Minister seen the pound, I think the financial markets are giving their judgment on this Prime Minister. You know, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister can afford to live in his own little world, his own little Britain. But people have to live with the reality of a failing Westminster
Mark,
system.
Prime Minister is a
cost
criminal.
of living crisis worse in the UK
See you later,
than
just me and
any
Vids.
other G7 country.
Yeah.
An inflation rate double that of France.
Double.
The second worst economic growth forecast in the G20,
Wowzers.
next to only sanction Russia.
Yeah.
And now,
Next to
a
Russia.
threat of a trade
Next to
war
Russia.
with our European friends,
He is
triggered by a
destroying our
law-breaking
economy.
Prime Minister.
Get out
That
while
is
you
not
can,
a
man.
vision for the future of Scotland.
Get out while you can.
Our nation is big enough, rich enough and smart enough. Isn't it the case, Prime Minister, that Scotland simply can't
Most vulnerable
afford
refugees
to
from
remain
Rwanda.
trapped
Yeah.
in the failing Westminster system? Mr. Speaker, stop the world. Scotland wants to get on.
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, I think that the
Yeah,
figures speak for themselves.
deflect.
The UK has
Do an insult.
record
Go on,
numbers
do
of
an
people
insult, you
in
daft
payroll
twat.
employment. That's an astounding
do an
thing
insult.
when you consider where we
a little
were
dig.
during the pandemic. That was because of the UK
Vaccines!
working well together. As you will remember, with the vaccine rollout.
Vaccines! He mentioned vaccines! Lee, we have a bingo! We have a bingo! B-I-N-G-O! We have a Boris Johnson bingo!
He talks about
Yeah,
a
fucking
trade war.
demonic
What could be more
cabbage.
foolish, Mr. Speaker, than a project that actually envisages
Fuck you.
trade barriers within parts of the United Kingdom.
Put trade barriers up to all of our closest neighbours.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. During the Jubilee celebrations,
Yeah,
I
Lee.
was honoured to share part of them with Cohort 4, an
Jesus, look at the
inspirational
fucking state of
mentoring and
this
support
fucking
group who
dickhead.
provide life-changing support to a wide range of women, such as those who've tragically been the victim of domestic violence, sexual abuse, or suffer from
What,
mental
by
health
your fucking
difficulties.
fellow MPs,
Sadly,
by any
as a result
chance?
of the pandemic, the need
Yeah.
for these services only grown. So would the Prime Minister join
No,
me
but the
in
number
thanking
of Tory
Beverly and the team
MPs
for the
growing,
incredible
this
work that they
crisis
do
has
at
also
Cohort 4
grown,
and set out
because
what
nearly
more
all of you are a
government
bunch
can
of
do
fucking
to support these
nonsense.
organisations so they can continue to deliver the vital care to vulnerable men and women across all of our constituencies.
What a fucking lip service bullshit. Fuck off.
Extend my thanks also
Like
to
you really
Beverly and
fucking
everybody
care.
In Cohort 4 for what they're
not
doing.
give a
There's
fuck.
the extra support that we're giving.
This is the
includes
sound of someone who
£140 million
doesn't
pounds
give
of
a
funding
fuck.
for victims' services and
Look at the spanner behind him.
million
Which-
ring-fenced
this guy here or
such
or,
as Cohort
Truss?
4. Thank you to Cohort
Jesus,
4,
she's a bit scary, isn't she?
and
J.K.
similar
Rowling would
organisations
let her in
for
the girls.
everything, that they do.
Ed David.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I join the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition in paying tribute to our armed forces and sending our thanks and gratitude to the veterans of the Falklands War and their families? Mr. Speaker, millions of families across our country are suffering
Yeah, last episode
because
of
of
the
the
UK
cost
is
of
dragging on a
living
bit.
emergency. And people in rural
That was
areas
fun.
are especially hurting, bearing the brunt of record fuel price rises. The Rural Fuel Duty Relief Scheme is supposed to help
But it's
by
not
taking
helping.
money off the price of petrol.
This here
But
looks
some
like it's my
rural
microphone.
counties
Look.
aren't eligible.
Oh, the camera's moving. Oh, you bring my microphone back. I
Shropshire
didn't do that. That was the
and
BBC.
like Devon. Mr.
Oh, Devon. Devon got a mention in Parliament. Well done, Devon. You Brexit voting twat.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservative Party want to hear ideas to help those people, and I think the people of Devon will note.
Yeah.
Because there are families and pensioners across rural counties who are missing out on this support. So, Mr. Speaker, as petrol prices soar, will the Prime Minister accept our idea to help people in rural counties
next week. Election next Thursday.
Rural fuel duty relief?
23rd, the 5th anniversary of the Brexit
fuel
vote.
duty for everybody across the country by record sums.
What a lying pack of shit! They took 5p off fuel at the forecourt, and then it was swapped by a 20p rise literally a week later. Go fuck yourself, Boris Johnson, you lying sack of shit.
The blissful fact,
blissful ignorance of your fucking voters. Alright, yeah, well, we're certain what your policy is. To fuck the UK! Well, fuck you, gobshite. Destroying my fucking country.
Not revealing that they're in fact in favour of massive new green taxes, Mr. Speaker, which is what they want, and not revealing that they would like to go back straight away into the common agricultural policy with all the bureaucracy and all the costs that entails. They don't say that on the doorstep, Mr. Speaker.
What? The cost? The cost of what? We would make more money than it will cost. Stupid twat.
10,000 housing units on flood.
All of the rich countries in the world are in Europe. That's what you've got to know. That's what you've got to remember. There's hardly any rich countries anywhere else. Obviously, you've got the big ones like the US
from the Prime Minister
and
that as we update planning
Japan.
legislation, we will enshrine the brownfield principle first for new developments and save our environment.
There's 150 countries that aren't doing so well. Let's just put it that way.
My old friend is completely right, and we encourage the use of suitable brownfield land, and our policy is for brownfield.
You create brownfield land by fucking walking on it and destroying all the fucking vegetation. You fucking vile fucking evil.
My Kirkcaldy Cowdenbeath constituent Ruth Zuccarello is the sister of Jim Fitton, who is currently imprisoned in Iraq and sentenced to 15 years.
I'll get her over here and we'll send her to fucking Rwanda.
Shards of pottery. The judge passing sentence did not believe that Mr. Fitton had any criminal intent. And this has obvious and significant implications for Jim and his loved ones. So I would ask the Prime Minister if he would be willing to meet me and other MPs.
Don't involve the Prime Minister. He'll make it worse. He'll make it worse. He'll tell the authorities that this guy collects, steals antiquities from the British Museum or something. Don't get involved. Don't involve this fucking knobhead in anything.
The right gets a meeting with the relevant minister as soon as possible.
Oh God, stay out of it, gobshite.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. One of my youngest constituents, little Nellie Oakeshott, is 2 years old.
Oakeshott.
And has been diagnosed with
Isabella?
metachromatic leukodystrophy.
Oh, okay.
Her very brave parents, Megan and Tom, are supporting a campaign to see MLD
So
added
the Tories
to
have
the
got together and said, we've got to talk about cancer, we've
been
got to talk about
included
domestic
in the
violence, we've got to
Nellie's
talk about
condition could be
children with rare diseases. This is what they're doing. It's so cynical. It's so obvious. It's performative shite. She doesn't give a fuck. She probably can't even remember the fucking name. Start looking at a piece of paper. Oh, actually, we just saw her looking at a piece of paper to remember the name of the people who she says that she cares so much about.
In the future can be spared this same heartbreak.
Like you give a fuck. Fuck off, you
I thank her very much, and I know
sorry.
that the thoughts of everybody will be with
I know the fact that the family situation is tragic, but to use it as a political football to try and dig these cunts out of the fucking mess they've got themselves in, you know? Oh, we're the compassionate Conservatives. Look, bowel cancer. Oh, look, domestic violence. Oh, look, children who are dying. We care about this stuff. Look, and now Boris Johnson gets to stand up and say, oh, yeah, I really care about this kind of stuff. He doesn't give a fuck. He does not give a fuck. He's a fucking sociopath, that man.
Mr. Speaker, in just 5 days, rail passengers across the UK and in the North East will be facing huge disruption.
Yep, thanks to the Tories. Thanks to the Tories.
But on the eve of the biggest rail dispute in a generation, it's emerged that ministers have not held any talks whatsoever since March. So, Mr. Speaker, I ask the Prime
Yeah,
Minister,
Taki, the EU has announced new legal action against the UK government over the scrapping, the intention to scrap the withdrawal
with trade
agreement.
unions and employers in the rail industry to attempt to bring this dispute to an end.
Of course they're making out that it's Labour's fault. Of course they are.
Mr. Speaker, I noticed that what one union baron was asked about this. He said, "I don't negotiate with a Tory government," is what he said. That's what they said, Mr. Speaker. We all know how much money the Labour front bench take from the RMT, Mr. Speaker. We know why they're sitting on their hands during Labour's rail strikes. They should come out and condemn it.
See, he's calling it Labour's rail strikes. That's your Tory rail strikes. As you're in fucking charge, you stupid cunt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today is Pension Credit Awareness Day. Pension credit is currently underclaimed. Around a quarter of those entitled don't claim it. So
where is your chin? Oh my God, Tom Mandel. Tom, what happened, mate?
Make that claim
God.
so we can get more money into the pockets of pensioners.
You look like Beaker. You look like Beaker from fucking Muppets. Jesus Christ.
Too many pensioners fail to take up their entitlements under pension credit. It can be worth another £3,300.
Jesus Christ, he looks like Beaker from the Muppets.
Aware of it.
But the Professor Bunsen's round the corner. Go do some science experiments to blow up in your face.
The worst people often rise to the highest office and stay there.
Yes.
Not my words about the Prime Minister,
Boris Johnson's,
but those of his newest appointment, his cost of living czar.
It's a Welsh guy who founded Just Eat.
Families across Cardiff North, crippled with skyrocketing bills, unable to afford even the most basic necessities, all agree with him, saying this Prime Minister has to go. So if his own czar doesn't even have faith in him, tell me why those struggling should.
Yeah, come on. Because I'm rich and I'm privileged and a sociopath and blah, blah, blah.
Just remind her that and delivers on our promises to the people. Getting Brexit done.
Brexit. Quick. Do we get a double Brexit bonus?
Single market and into the customs union.
Yes. Which would improve our economy no end?
That's the real policy.
Well, that would improve our economy, you stupid twat. That would improve our economy. Our economy is tanking. It is tanking. We are heading towards spiralling inflation, spiralling interest, and a fucking recession. Maybe a depression, actually.
For adopters, whether that be financial, therapeutic, or professional, was minimal.
Brexit is the free square in the bingo card.
I got
Brexit done. I fucked the economy right in proper and made us an international pariah. From
2015 onwards has improved the situation, but as ever, there's much more that we can do. And to that end, would my right honourable friend look at making self-employed adopters eligible for statutory adoption pay so they can also
adoption
have
now.
a
You see,
better
look,
and fairer start
and these
to
like cuddly, lovely little policies.
Mr. Speaker,
you'd be nice to people who are looking to adopt orphans. Fucking hell. Let's get out the Tory sympathy fucking cards. Bingo set, eh? We've had bum cancer, then we had domestic violence, something that Boris Johnson is very well aware of, having a father who committed it to Boris Johnson's mother, so much that Stanley Johnson put Boris Johnson's mother in the fucking hospital after beating her so badly, and he had the police called to his flat that he shared with his mistress at the time, Carrie Antoinette.
Rates are likely to rise too. We saw that after the 2008
and apparently that was the neighbour's fault for being
as well as
nosy.
doing more to support people through the cost of living crisis.
So yeah, we had that. We've had child with an incurable disease, and now we've got
the campaign against living miserably, and also implement Labour's pledge that anyone in need of it should be able to access mental health counselling.
Did anyone have orphans on the Tory sympathy fucking Brexit card? Orphans. Consider the orphans.
Right, Mr. Speaker, and we must focus ever more on mental health.
If they cared, I wouldn't be taking a piss.
£2.3 billion into supporting mental health services, including suicide prevention.
You make me want to commit suicide, you fucking near-eyed cunt. You blubbering fucking mountain of fucking mad flesh.
It would be a good thing if across the floor of this house,
dithering, blathering bag of shite.
David Jones.
Fuck off.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The conflict in Ukraine and the consequent disruption of the supply chain in wheat
has highlighted the need for the United Kingdom to become more self-sufficient in food. The genetic
Good luck with that, dickhead.
bill, which has its second
Fucking
reading
Welsh
this
voting for this cunt.
will help
The Welsh
create
voting for the
conditions
Tories.
to enable English
Jesus
farmers
Christ.
to,
Whip me again, master! Whip me again! Get back in the box, Gimp. Oh, yes, master! Yes,
The
master!
drive to self-sufficiency requires a UK-wide effort. And will he urge the devolved administrations to adopt the provisions of the bill so that farmers
British
across
farming's
Britain
fucked.
can produce the food that
British farming has been fucked by Brexit.
My honourable friend is completely right.
And our ability to feed ourselves has been fucked by a withdrawal from the common agricultural policy of the EU.
In a loving and sharing way, in a loving and sharing way, we are going to work with.
David knows that hedgerows don't make good eating. Yeah, we'll get rid of all the hedgerows. Of course we will. It's going to become a barren desert for the biodiversity in this country to try and grow enough food for ourselves, which we can't do.
Is vital for victims of sexual crimes.
We don't have the
When a
space.
Rotherham survivor
We don't have the
who's here
arable
today
land for the number of people who live on this
reported her
island.
child abuse to the police. They told her not to go for counselling as it could be used against her in court.
Yes.
Your Attorney General is challenging the rules, so it's even easier for defence teams to access victims' counselling notes, having an
Wow.
immediate chilling effect.
Wow.
Survivors
Wow.
shouldn't be forced to choose between their mental health and justice. Prime Minister, please stop this.
Yes.
You'll be
Well,
lucky.
I'm very interested to hear what she says, and I will look at the evidence that she has. But I can, these are very sensitive and very difficult issues, particularly as regards the defence cases. But if she looks at what's happening, for instance, on rape and serious sexual offences, where we've had very similar problems.
Where only
we are
1% of
starting to see
rapists go to jail.
an improvement in the
1%!
prosecution
Literally
rate.
99%. If you rape someone in this country, you have a 99 out of 100 chance of getting away with it. Getting away with it. Because of this fucking arsehole. This absolute gob of shite.
My right honourable friend may be aware that the Shrewsbury and Telford Hospital Trust has recently submitted a revised outline business case in support of its £312 million capital allocation made by the Department of Health 4 years ago. Does he agree with me that in order to make progress and complete the ambitious hospital building programme,
Hospitals.
the NHS
40 new hospitals.
processes not only
40
need to
new
be
hospitals. Where
levelled
are
up,
the
they
40
need to be
new
speeded up.
hospitals? Where are they? Where are these 40 new hospitals, dickhead? It takes a very long time. It all takes about 12 years, in fact. 40 new hospitals. It's not a single new hospital's been built. Not a single one. 40 new hospitals. That's what this lying cunt said would happen. Yeah, 40 new hospitals. Yay! He said it! What a gobshite! That's a bingo. 40 new hospitals, you fucking lying sack of shite. They're not new hospitals. They might be a new wing to a dilapidated hospital that's falling apart through years of Tory underfunding.
Mr. Speaker, my constituent
Levelling up.
Mr. Singh's identity has been stolen. His NHS records are being misused, but he's been advised there is nothing
It's
the Health
upgrades to
Secretary
48
can
new
do.
hospitals. Jesus.
Crimes are being committed in his name. The Home Secretary's department assured him that this would not affect his immigration status. Yet
but
recently,
you're a lying packet.
he, his wife and children were detained by UK Border Force
Vermin.
whilst travelling for a family holiday. Can the Prime Minister explain who in his government is responsible for this chaotic incompetence?
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, I'd be only too happy to look at the. I'm very sorry for the experience.
10-year-old Princess Leia is now a qualified electrician.
I've
kind of given up watching Obi-Wan, I'm afraid. I've not seen the last couple of episodes. I don't think I really bother catching up with it. So badly written, so badly directed. It's painful. Oh, is our old Prime Minister?
Speaker.
She voted against Boris Johnson.
Dominique Davis is the niece of Don Phillips, the British journalist missing in Brazil, alongside the Indigenous expert Bruno Pereira. Will my right honourable friend ensure
Is the wide
that the
shot there
makes
is out of
this case
focus?
a diplomatic
That's not
priority,
me. That's not my end.
and
That's,
that it works
the
to do
Parliament
everything
people.
it can
I'm sure they're
to
getting
ensure
paid a
that
lot
Brazilian
more than me
authorities
for
put
sorting this out.
the resources necessary to uncover the truth and find out
Dismay.
what has happened to Dom and Bruno.
I thank my right honourable friend very much and I can tell her that for representing the niece of Dom Phillips. And of course, like everybody in this house, we're deeply concerned about what may have happened.
That's the prequel, isn't it? Is that the prequel to Star Trek with
FCDO officials are working closely now with the Brazilian authorities following his disappearance on the 5th of June. The minister responsible has raised the issue repeatedly. The search and rescue effort with Brazil's Justice and Public Security Minister.
Yeah, that would have been nice for her to stick the knife in, but
Speaker, as we stand
he's got so many knives in him, and he's still there. He's still there, standing up, talking bollocks. Thinks he's safe for another year. 148 of his own MPs fucking 80.
Thank you.
Have no confidence
Point
in him
of order,
as leader.
Elaine Saxby.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I just wondered if you could advise how I could correct the record for the Right Honourable Member for Kingston and Surbiton's question, where he raised the matter of rural fuel duty relief and incorrectly advised that it was not available in Devon, and that in my North Devon constituency that I clearly know quite well on this side of the House, the EX35 postcode of Linton, their fuel retailers have had access to this duty for some time. How might we address this situation, Madam Deputy Speaker?
Well, order. I thank the honourable lady for her point of order. The chair is not responsible for points made by honourable and right honourable members, but she has put her concerns on the record.
I think people are leaving.
So
I think we're going to leave it at that. So I will reduce.
Vote to that point of order, Sir Edward Davey.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Can I thank the honourable lady for raising the point, not directly, I think, pointing out that vast parts of Devon don't have rural fuel duty relief.
Yeah,
I think this is becoming a continuation of Prime Minister's questions, so we will leave it at that.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Point of order, Yasmin Qureshi.
Yes, Madam Deputy Speaker. In the Prime Minister's questions, the Prime Minister said that the Leader of the Opposition was a supporter of people traffickers. I think that should be taken out of record.
Yeah. It's a disgrace.
Yeah.
Well, I thank the honourable lady for her point of order. Frankly, the level of noise during PMQs meant it was not possible for the chair to hear everything. But I understand that the Prime Minister,
she's a Tory. Tory's
as
going
she
to
says, did say that the opposition was
Lindsay
on
Hoyle
the side
should have
of people traffickers. That seems to me, and I have to say to the Speaker, to fall well short of the good temper and moderation which should characterise our debate.
He's a lying shitbag. Under Boris Johnson, what characterises debate is
Minister
him being a lying
shitbag.
shitbag.
Here, we need to refer to each other
As
in
lying
this
shitbags.
place in more respectful terms.
Lying shitbags.
And I'm sure that in that spirit will be adopted.
Are you going to change the record?
To come.
Are you going to change the fucking record? It's going to be a statement
Point
to
of
come.
order.
Madam Deputy Speaker, as Chair of the International Trade Committee, it's with dismay of the committee that we found out that the government was to trigger the CRAG process on the Australia-UK FTA before the scrutiny was finished. This, in light of assurances to the Speaker of the House in a letter, assurances on the floor of the House on the 17th of November 2021.
I'm going to leave it at this,
at the dispatch book from a minister
because
of the DIT,
he's not addressing
and also to the committee
Boris Johnson,
itself, that scrutiny would be allowed to happen before CRAG was triggered. This has not happened. What is happening is the UK is opening and rolling out the red carpet to Australian exporters to the UK, while Australia is not ratifying. Madam Deputy Speaker, we and the committee feel there should be a vote at the very least to delay CRAG. Can you advise us how best we can achieve that
Okay,
end?
look, we're going to leave it at that. We're going to leave it at that because it's not related to Prime Minister's questions. It's a little bit odd that he's going on about that, but there you go. Okay, hello, and welcome to Prime Minister's, not safe for work, Prime Minister's questions with Graham Hughes. It is Wednesday, June the 15th, 2022, and everything in the UK is really shit at the moment. Everything is awful, as the song from the Lego Movie 2 went, I think, or everything's not awesome. It's all been a bit shit. Adrian Wilson is saying British farming would be better served if it rejoined CAP and the single market, the Common Agricultural Policy. Otherwise, sector is only set to be further disadvantaged by Brexiteer zero opportunity, hopelessly one-sided trade deals. Indeed. Yoni is saying the UK government is maintaining the business model of the people traffickers. It is indeed, and it could just open up the Homes for Ukraine scheme to all refugees. There you go. There's your fucking solution right there. You can keep that nice and easy. I just need to make sure that I haven't actually muted my mic. So I'm sorry I came in a little bit late. If you joined the beginning of the broadcast, it was while Keir Starmer was on his feet with his first question. I had it all set up and I was talking to the camera and I was just like, oh, welcome to Prime Minister's Questions. Everything was in good time, which is surprising because I'm in a different room again this week. So I've been in a different room like every week for the last few weeks. But I'm hoping that this can be the room that I remain in for the future, so I can just leave the green screen up behind me. But yeah, I hadn't pressed go live. So I hadn't pressed start broadcasting. So yeah, that was a problem. Obviously, my corners here are being cut off, so I'll sort that out for the next broadcast, so that's not so annoying. And also I'll lift my laptop up so I'm not looking down so much, because I realise I am looking down at my laptop to read your messages. Sorry about that. I need to be looking more at the camera. So yes, Tories, Adrian Wilson, it says Tories can't correct the record because it would take too long, so many lies, where do you start? Very good point. We've got Mark176 saying come in Rosie, pathetic. Yep. We've got number 3 saying party politics is tribal warfare writ large, indeed. We've got Don Donovan saying, so the Scots are leaving and Beaker will be finance minister soon. That is all I'm getting from today's PMQ. Is that guy going to be finance minister? I heard he had a tiny majority and a tiny something else, apparently, from all reports. We've got Adrian Wilson. PMQs equals Prime Minister's lies. Prime Minister Quisling. Prime Minister Quisling. Softball questions, PM's planted questions. Yeah, Mark, well, all of the questions are submitted in advance. Even the Leader of the Opposition's questions are submitted in advance to the Prime Minister. So they're never taken by surprise. They know exactly what's going to be asked. Each member gets to submit a question, and if the speaker says, yeah, you can have your question, then the Prime Minister has already been prepped for what the question will be. Or the basic gist of it. He wouldn't have had the whole layout of the whole script of what Keir Starmer said there. He'll just be told that at the end of the question, when he gets to it, he'll be asked, what are you going to do about the economy that's failing at the moment? So he can get his script writers to write up some nonsense to justify his criminal behaviour, his absolutely criminal behaviour, exemplified this week with this disgusting and outrageous and immoral and just the performative lunacy that has been this flight to Rwanda, a country that 99 out of 100 people, probably 999 people out of 1,000, couldn't identify on a map of Africa if there were no labels on the map. A lot of people think Africa is one country. It's not. It's 54. But they look at a map and they're like, yeah, that's Africa. And they're pointing at India sometimes. It does happen. Imagine how it's going to feel if the right-wing media rally around Johnson and he wins the next election, says Roger King. Well, my plan is for Scotland to win its referendum later this year, hopefully, and then I'll move to Scotland. And then, sorry, but you're on your own. I can't deal with this anymore. I really can't. It's not good for my mental health. It's not good for my life. I mean, I'm middle-aged now. I'm 43. I don't want the next 43 years of my life, if it lasts that long, to be dominated by these posh, pretentious, privately educated scumbags who just ride roughshod over all sense of common decency and common sense. These people are fucking idiots, like painfully stupid morons who feel so entitled because their daddy was very rich or their mammy was very rich and mammy daddy and daddy, it's just they come from generations of privileged little shits. And these are the people in charge. We have a caste system in this country. One of the questions asked on James O'Brien this morning was, why is Scotland different? Why is Scotland so much more left-wing than England? And it's because of the Scottish accent. That's why it is. You can't tell someone's if someone's posh and Scottish, they sound English. So you don't necessarily have to listen to them. And if someone's got a really strong, obviously, Glaswegian accent, obviously they're going to not be listened to as much as someone who has a nice, soft, I don't know, Edinburgh or Aberdeen accent, or no, not Dundee. But the point is, we don't have the same. They don't have the same Pavlovian response when they hear a plummy accent in Scotland that they do down here. Down here, these people who think of themselves as free thinkers even, they honestly believe that they know their own mind, and it's not just told to them by the posh people who run the Daily Mail and write for the Daily Mail. No, they have their own opinions. They really do. They have their own opinions until someone with a posh accent comes along. Hello, little man. What are you doing here? And at that point, these brickies, these tattooed-faced National Front supporters, these people who go to football matches and start riots, they go weak at the knees. Oh. Daddy issues, probably. I don't know. Tell me what to do, posh daddy. Well, you've got to listen to me because I'm very, very posh. I'm very, very posh. I'm incredibly inbred, really fucking stupid, totally entitled, but I sound very posh. So you have to listen to me because I have the authority. Through the fact you've got a posh voice. And these otherwise, proper built meatheads who get into a fight with anyone else, they go, oh, he's posh. No, he's posh. He's posh. Right, you are. Doff cap, tug forelock. It's pathetic. And that's the problem with the English. They're fucking pathetic. Because all they need is a posh voice to come along and they go weak at the knees. Get down on their knees, start licking the fucking gravel from beneath the posh person's feet because that posh person deemed it okay to speak to them. Because at the end of the day, every single one of these gobshites, working class Tories, something to be, they aspire to be one of those posh gobshites. One day when they win the lottery, one day when the horse comes in, whatever. Parliament is pathetic because the constitution is so weak, says number 3. Yeah, because we don't have a written constitution and the government is trying its best to get rid of, I'm going to talk about this in a moment, but they're trying to get rid of the European Court of Human Rights being able to have jurisdiction over our country, over our citizens. Basically, they're going to deprive us of even more rights after taking away our freedom of movement and protections from the European Court of Justice, which is separate from the European Court of Human Rights. They're trying to get rid of Churchill's legacy, which is to create the European Court of Human Rights. And this is why we have seen this performative shite this week with the Rwanda deportations. They knew that they would be stopped, and they knew that at the last minute, the European Court of Human Rights would say this is wrong, because it is wrong, and they know it's wrong. And they wanted the European Court of Human Rights to get involved. And the European Court of Human Rights isn't stupid. They left it till the very last minute until all other avenues were exhausted and went, okay, then we'll have to stop this then. And the government went, and the Daily Mail went, you're judges, foreign judges telling us what to do, in a court that we helped create. In fact, one of the members of the European Commission for Human Rights for 10 years, the president, sorry, he was a member for 20 years, he was a fucking president of it for 10 years, was Boris Johnson's own maternal grandfather. My God. Rwanda is in Europe, Graham. Indeed. Boris Johnson gets so much, why does he have to? So much if he gets to accuse in advance. Plenty of time for spin. Indeed, Jim Bob. That's the idea. Mark says, yep, and if we withdraw from the ECHR, then the Brexit deal, such as it is, will also be dead. Yeah, and also the Good Friday Agreement, such as it is, will also be dead. Very true. The UK is walking on real thin ice here, and the Tories think everything is okay, says Taki. Well, no, they're doing. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They are. This is a fire sale. This is a fire sale of the United Kingdom. It's a culture war. Tories aren't happy unless they're destroying something. Yep, absolutely. In the 1950s and 60s, they destroyed the railways. In the 1970s, they destroyed. 1980s, they destroyed our manufacturing, and then in the 2010s, they destroyed all our business or our entrepreneurial ship. They don't know how to create anything, Tories. They just know how to destroy. It's all they know how to do. How to create a tame elephant person, train them from birth, resulting in mental slavery. Indeed. Adrian Wilson says, culture war is a little book cover than their own government policies that hit their own population with mass pain. Indeed. Bill Sally says, yep, culture stroke identity war, that's happening all over Europe. It is indeed, but I don't think it's happening in any imagination in the situation, to any stretch that is happening in the UK. You've got Marine Le Pen coming far too close to becoming president of France. You've got Viktor Orban in Hungary, Vladimir Putin's other best mate, along with Aaron Banks. So some good news that happened this week. On Monday, it was revealed that the High Court had decided that Aaron Banks' vindictive libel case against Carol Cadwalla had lost, which was phenomenal and really good news for everybody. The main talent in cabinet is making public money vanish by creative breaking of laws. Yeah, that is true. And Mark 176 says, just us, Russia and Belarus, where it's got out of hand. Well, the only countries that have left the European Commission for Human Rights, or the European Court of Human Rights, is Greece in 1971, I think, under the fascist rule when the fascists took over, and they quickly rejoined afterwards. And Russia this year when they invaded Ukraine, which was illegal, and so they left the European Court of Human Rights so they didn't have to protect the rights of the people living in Ukraine, who they are raping and murdering on a daily basis, because the Russian government and the Russian army are fucking animals. They are absolute animals. Vladimir Putin has brought over Syrian terrorists to fight in his army. He has brought over members of ISIS to fight in his fucking army, to come over here and rape and murder European citizens. And then we have the sad fact that we have 60,000, I think it is, Ukrainian refugees living in the country now, staying with families like ours. And that's fine because they're white. But if you're black or you're brown, we're going to send you to Rwanda. A racist policy, red meat for the racists, to get the European Court of Human Rights to fall into a trap that the Tories have set to stop the flight going ahead, because it is grossly immoral. Grossly, utterly, shockingly immoral. So much so that every bishop in the Church of England has condemned it. So much so that the future King of England has condemned it. And yet the Tories seem to think this is acceptable. They seem to think that this is acceptable behaviour. It is not. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up there. We've received 100 messages. Yes! Yoni says the main talent in the cabinet is making public money vanish by creative breaking of laws. Indeed, that is very, very true. Okay, so thank you for joining me for this Prime Minister's Questions, Not Safe for Work Prime Minister's Questions with Graham Hughes. I will be resuming some kind of normal weekly, 4 times weekly service very, very soon with my live casts. But I've got a lot of other work to be getting on with at the same time. So thank you for sticking with me, everyone who has. And thank you to all my patrons out there and my YouTube members. And I am so sorry that I haven't spent much time with the community that we've built together over the last few months. But I have been obviously doing the UK for UKR stuff. And if we raise enough money over the next month, I'll be able to do another trip over to Ukraine and take more supplies over. We will be doing a trip out there next week in the 4x4, which is currently outside my house here in Durham. And we will be taking that. Well, I won't be taking it, but Gordon, the medic, will be taking it from Liverpool. He's meeting me in Liverpool. We're going to fill it up with aid, and he's going to be taking it back into Ukraine, and it'll be used there to help people out around Ukraine get around, because obviously roads have been destroyed by the Russians and it's not easy to get around in a bus. So sometimes you need to get the bus as close to the city as you can, and then you evacuate people in 4x4s that can actually get through the broken roads and fields and things like that. Thank you so much, number 3, for the super chat there, for the £10 super chat. That is absolutely brilliant and makes it all worthwhile. Thank you so much. And yeah, so I will return. I want to come back at the weekend, but I think maybe on Sunday I'm probably going to be too knackered. So I'm going to say Monday. Should we say Monday? What are we doing Monday? What are you doing Monday? Is it a bank holiday? Is it the Platinum Jubilee? Am I going to Ukraine or the Ukrainian border again? I don't think so. So let's say Monday, okay? Let's meet on Monday. I can't do a show tomorrow. I'm actually going to be in Liverpool, but Monday. Let's do it Monday, yeah? Sounds good to me. And if you are in Liverpool, I'm going to be in Liverpool over the weekend. I'll be at the African Oye Festival. I'm not performing or anything because I can't sing, I can't dance, and I'm not African. So, but I will be in the crowd. So if you're there, come along. It'll be fun. If the weather's like it is today, it'll be marvelous. If it's not, if it's raining, I might just sack it off and go to the pub. Okay, so thank you very, very much for joining me, and I will leave you with a list of my wonderful, wonderful Patreons. To bring the list up there. There you go. And until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.